Uh, uh, Good morning, delegates. Okay. Firstly, I would like to thanks to Ray that he has just presented a well-constructed presentation on day one procedure. So now I would like to introduce the day two procedure in our Tainan model animations. And firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jamie Hong. I'm an 11th grader in Tainan First Senior High, and I will be chairing the World Health Organization this year. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the data agenda. So data agenda can basically divide it into three parts, which are resolution submission, debate, and lastly is the voting procedure. Okay. For further details, a general overview for the data agenda can have more sub points. For example, in the resolution submission, that can divide into submitting the operating clauses and main submitting speech delivered by main submitter and the points of information. And points of information is another way to speak, like raising a question. And in the debate, this year our TAINANMUN will move the House into the open debate, that we're not going to have time to speak for and speak against. And open debate is time for all delegates to speak freely on the resolution as a whole. And as I just mentioned that, I have just mentioned the term floor. You may think that technical floor is not grab the ground. It's like technical floor means that you have the right to deliver a speech. And lastly is a voting procedure. So resolution submission is, I would like to recommend that some potential legislators should focus on this part. Because legislators should do these 4 points when he or she is going to submit an resolution. Firstly, legislator have to read the operating clause, and then he or she will give a legislative speech which is based on the resolution that he or she submitted to the House. And the third one is take points of information, is to open to questions for other delegates that other delegates may have some questions on your resolution or in your speech. And lastly is the floor yielding. Floor yielding means that you can give your right of speech to another delegate, or you can just yield the floor back to the chair. Okay, firstly, reading operating clauses. So the chair may say that regarding the issue of blah blah blah, will the moderator please approach the podium and read the operating clauses. So when moderator hears this sentence, he or she have to approach a podium and read out the operating clauses in the resolution. Okay, and after the moderator has finished his or her operating clauses, then the chair will say, "Thank you, delegates. Will delegates please make his or her submitting speech?" So submitting speech is a general speech covering some or almost all clauses in the resolution. And the main purpose to deliver a submitting speech is to explain this delegate's plan or policy or solution to solve the problem that we're going to debate on today. And the main purpose is to persuade other delegates why they should vote for your resolution, why they should agree with your resolution. Okay, so points of information is the third point for the main submitter to submit a resolution. So after the main submitter has finished his or her main submitting speech, then the chair will say, is the delegate open to any points of information? Which means that the chair is asking this delegate whether he or she wants to open questions to other delegates. So possible replies to this question can be divided into 4. So the moderator can answer any and all pertaining to my, maybe it is resolution, or maybe it is pertaining to my speech. And or moderator can just answer any and all, which means that delegates can ask any question to the moderator, which there is no specifically limited. Or you can just answer a specific number, like 2, 3, or you can just mention no. But this is not recommended because the more questions you open to other delegates, then they can have more information from you, your answer. Okay, so if the delegate is open to no points of information, then the chair will say, this delegate has opened himself or herself to no points of information. Then will the delegates please yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegates? If the delegate is open to points of information, for example, this delegate can open himself to any and all points of information. Is there any on the floor? So the rest of the delegates, if you hear the sentence announced by the chairs, which means that the chair now open points of information. Okay, so what if you want to ask more than one question? So follow-up, this right of follow-up is to use when a delegate wants to ask a further question. And delegates, please be reminded that the chair have the right to deny or grant the follow-up question by saying like follow-up granted or follow-up denied. And the last point is really, really important, that the follow-up in second degree is not in order, which means that you cannot ask more than 2 questions. So floor yielding is that in this session, the moderator can also yield his or her floor to another delegate who will go through the same process as the moderator. It's like deliver the speech and then open to points of information. And this delegate to take the floor yielding from the moderator should deliver another speech that is maybe is speaking on the resolution as a whole. So in this situation, the chair was asked, will delegates please yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegates? Then the moderator can optionally choose either one. And also the floor yielding in secondary is not in order, because which means that after the moderator yield the floor to another delegates, then this recognized delegates cannot yield the floor to another delegate. Okay, so here we come to the most important part in the data procedure, is that debate. So open debate is time for all delegates to deliver a speech on the resolution, and he or she can deliver a speech whether it is for or against. And it is also the session for us to submit an amendment. Amendment means that I will have further explanation on amendment later. So open debate. The chair will start an open debate by saying the chair now set 50 minutes for open debate. Delegates who wish to speak on this resolution, please raise your placard. So the delegates also go through the same procedure as the moderator, is to deliver speech and then open to points of information optionally. The chair will present the floor is now open. Is there any delegates who wishes to take the floor? And delegates, maybe some of you are first timers, then you may be afraid to go on the stage and deliver a speech. Then the chair may ask some quiet delegates to speak on this resolution so that all delegates can contribute to the conference equally. Okay, so I want to explain what is amendment. Amendment is a proposal to modify the original operating clauses. Maybe the modification will be grammatical errors or resolution content or some specific wording. And the amendment should be submitted by writing on an amendment sheet. And after delegates finish writing the amendment sheet, he or she have to submit the amendment to the chair in advance. And the amendment will be made during the open debate. The amendment process can be divided into 8 steps. Firstly, if the delegates want to submit an amendment, he or she have to pass a note to the chair and asking for an amendment sheet. And after you finish writing it, then you pass the amendment sheet back to the chair. And then now you take the floor during open debate, and the chair will read the amendment out, and the delegate states the amendment, which means that the delegate delivers speech based on the amendment. And then there's points of information, open debate, and then lastly we have the voting on the amendment. So, what if the delegate wants to take the floor to submit an amendment? Then this delegate can raise his or her placards and say, after the chair recognizes you, then you can say, this delegate believes that he or she has submitted an amendment. And the chair will see if it is in order. The chair will say, that is in order. In order means that it is correct. It is there's no wrong in the procedure. Then voting on an amendment. When voting on an amendment, only for or against is allowed. Abstention is not in order. The abstention means that your stances toward this issue is not for and it's not against either. It means that you take equal stances toward this problem. So after a long process in the open debate, then the chair will move the House to voting procedure. Then when voting on a resolution, each delegate can vote for, against, or abstain from voting. So to pass your resolution, you need 50% of presenting delegates and plus 1 to make your resolution pass. Then when the resolution is passed, the chair will say, clapping is in order. But if the resolution is unfortunately failed, then the chair will say, clapping is not in order. But when an amendment is passed or not, delegates should be reminded that clapping is not in order because it is just an amendment. Okay, so maybe during the whole session you may need you may have some requirement, then you can raise a motion. Generally, motion can be, we can hear motion to these 4 motions will be raised in the House. For example, motion to extend debate time. Motion to extend debate time means that you think that the debate time is too short and you want to have further debate on the resolution, then you can raise this motion. Or motion to move directly to the voting procedure, and motion to move to previous question. The second and the third motion, it means that maybe you believe there is no necessity to have further debate on the amendment or the resolution, then you can raise this motion to suggest the chair and all delegates to move the voting procedure directly. And the last one is motion to move to 5 minutes of recess. Maybe you feel that you are retired, exhausted, and you can motion for a recess. And all of the above motions require seconds. And after there are seconds on the floor, then the chair will also ask, is there any objection? If there is any delegates raise an objection, then this motion will automatically fail. Yes, and this is what I just mentioned about motion for break time or recess. Delegates can propose a motion for break anytime during conference, and this also requires seconds. Okay, so I'd like to talk about the non-governmental organizations. Since this year, we have 2 NGOs presenting in our TAINANMUN, which are in WHO is Red Cross, and in Human Rights Council will be Amnesty International. And this year, non-governmental organizations are given with the rights, a specific right of speech, that NGOs can automatically deliver a speech before any debate sessions. The chair will ask the NGO whether he or she, whether the delegation wants to firstly deliver a speech. Okay, so we have a quick review. Firstly is a roll call. Just explain in race presentation. And we have resolution submission, and then main submitter will be recognized to the floor. And main submitter reads out the operating clauses. Then the main submitter make a main submitting speech. Then the main submitter can open to points of information optionally. And lastly will be the floor hearing. Moving to the open debates means that firstly, if the delegates want to yield the floor back to the chair, then the chair will move the House to open debate. But if the main submitter yield the floor to now delegates, then the same process will be taken as a main submitter. Then after a long procedure, we'll move to the voting. Procedure will move to the voting process, and amendment can be submitted during the whole open debate. Okay, so move to the voting procedure. The chair will ask, delegates who wish to vote for this resolution, please raise your placard, and then those against, and then those abstaining. So after these 3 steps and a total number is counted, then if the majority votes are in favor, then this resolution passed. Or if the majority votes are against, then this resolution fails. Okay, so we're now like to take a brief demonstration on the day 2 agenda. Will the House please come to order? The chair will now take a roll call with delegates whose station is called to count. Please raise your placard high and say present voting. Amnesty International. Present. Australia. Present voting. Bangladesh. Present voting. Canada. Present voting. United Kingdom. Present voting. United States of America. Present and voting. Today, in our Human Rights Council, one issue will be addressed, which is worker safety in the world garment industry in light of the Bangladesh disaster. With the main submitter, delegates of Canada, please approach the podium and read out the operating clauses. Delegates may have the floor.
Clause 1. Implements an open source communication between government and the people by A. Holding monthly meetings in a city hall between the workers who have complaints and the government to ensure the owners are keeping up worker safety and regulations. And if the owner fails to keep up, the government will have the right to 1. Seize the company that replace or above board agreement. 2. Subsidize the workers. 3. Demolish and remove companies that do not reach the requirement from the country. B. Establishing a clause-free and direct 24/7 hotline to ensure workers' basic rights listed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to have a voice and advocate for themselves freely with the United Nations Human Rights Council. 2. Proposes the establishment of a subcommittee, United Nations Workers' Development, Health and Safety, under the International Labour Organization, pertaining to the Building Code 2013, which A. is opposed to specialists, experts, and volunteers that study in fields related to worker safety. B. Collect and providing timely, objective, dependable, and factual information on the violations as well as implementation of the regulations, and reporting to the United Nations Human Rights Council. C. Highlights the importance of and the concept of worker safety. D. Ensures the workers' health by assistance from non-governmental organizations, such as International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group, to do the health checks regularly. E. Oversees the serious problem of insecure buildings, and examines the safety and proper use of the machine. G. Investigates the sanitation of the work environment, including the ventilation system, brightness, and public hygiene.
Thank you, delegates. Will delegate please deliver his submitting speech?
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, and students. The delegate of Canada would like to first express his sorrow for the deaths and the injured in the Rana Plaza collapse. After further investigation, we discovered that there were so many hazards facing the workers, such as the exposure to toxic chemicals and scald, respiratory syndrome, to list but a few. With this in mind, Canada, along with its co-sponsors, proposes this resolution. It would now like to explain the purpose and motivation for the clauses. So there might be doubts as how government factory workers can have their voices heard and how the government industry's compliance can be ensured. To address these concerns, Clause 1 proposes an open source communication between government and workers and a 24/7 hotline. And Canada knows that implementation cannot be done without the establishment of a subcommittee under International Labour Organization. Such subcommittee will investigate safety situations, structural problems, and sanitation in government factories, collect data, and provide objective and timely analysis. Furthermore, we will have monetary aid from World Bank Group and International Monetary Fund to give health check to the workers. The delegate of Canada wholeheartedly believes that with the participation of every member state, this resolution will function and will ensure a safer work environment, especially in the global garment industry. And he encourages all member states to vote for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Is the delegate open to any points of information?
Any and all pertaining to my speech.
This delegate has opened himself to any and all points of information pertaining to his speech. Is there any on the floor? Please press your placard. Delegates of the UK and Amnesty International, we have to recognize in that order. Delegates of UK.
Thus, the both subcommittee goes to will prevent another Rana Plaza collapse.
Yes, because as the delegate mentioned in his main speech, with the establishment of the subcommittee, their implementation will be done well. So he believes that with this subcommittee, this problem will be addressed very well. Yeah.
Is the delegate of Canada aware that this resolution didn't have the benefits given directly to these suffering workers?
This delegate believes that to improve the working environment will give the benefits to the workers, since the workers will not suffer more. Yeah.
Thank you, delegates. Will the delegates please yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegate?
Back to the chair.
That is in order. The chair will now move the House to open debate. Delegates who wish to speak on this resolution, please raise your placard. Delegates of Bangladesh, you have been recognized.
Honorable Chair, esteemed guests, and fellow delegates. The delegate of Bangladesh is glad to see there is such a comprehensive resolution submitted by the delegate of Canada, which because it sees that there is international help, like from IMF or from the World Bank Group, that will be given to the government and workers of Bangladesh. And thus he believes that this resolution will provide a better future for the workers and the people in Bangladesh and improve their basic human rights. Thus, the delegate of Bangladesh calls the House to vote for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Is the delegate open to any points of information?
Any no.
Delegates, please lower your placard after the chair.
Any no.
This delegate has opened himself to any and all points of information. Is there any on the floor? Please raise your placard. Delegates of Australia, you have to recognize.
The delegate of Australia thinks that this resolution is a little bit unclear. For example, in clause 1,
Will the delegates please deliver his question in a question form?
sorry, delegate of Australia, delegate agree in clause
In class one, in class one of class A, holding monthly meetings in the city, blah blah blah. The class is too vague since maybe the quantity of the complaints would be very large.
Well, the delegate of Bangladesh is aware of that, but he believes that such meeting is still practical in Bangladesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Will the delegates please yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegate?
Back to the chair.
That is in order. The floor is once again open. Is there any delegates who wish to speak on this resolution? Delegates of Amnesty International, you have been recognized.
Honorable chairs and fellow delegates, the delegates of Amnesty International appreciate what the delegates of Canada has done for so much hard work, while he would like to share a story. Once upon a time, there was a group like this, with a passionate delegate like all of you. They worked pretty hard for the conference, and suddenly felt very tired, thirsty, and starving. He walked down here and found there were snacks and cool drinks out there on the aisle. But he used his remaining strength to drag his body to the door. He found the door was locked and fortified by some kind of artificial material that it was impossible to be broken. So the delegate just starved to death. The end. The point is, this is what exactly the situation of this resolution. With all these hard work, laborers are not receiving the benefits directly of UN supplies. They are still suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Is the delegate open to any points of information?
None.
This delegate has opened himself to no points of information. Will delegates please yield the floor back to the chair or to another delegate? That is in order. The floor is once again open. Is there any delegates who wish to take the floor? Delegates of the United States of America, you have been recognized.
The delegate believes that he has submitted an amendment.
That is the order.